It started with yelling, sharp, explosive, and way too loud for a busy transit terminal. Heads turned. Near the pillars by Gate 14, a broad-shouldered security officer had a black teen backed against the wall. His uniform read, Private Enforcement, but the way he barked orders screamed EX-SWAT. Open the bag. Now, he growled, eyes locked on the kid like prey. The boy, 16, slim, wearing a navy hoodie, clutched a sketchbook to his chest. It's just drawings, sir. That's all. Before he could finish, the officer yanked it away. Pages tore. Pencils flew. He flung the backpack to the ground and shoved the teen backward, slamming his shoulder into the wall with a crack. You hiding something, huh? Think I won't drag you outta here? The kid winced but stayed upright. A few people filmed. None stepped in. The sketchbook hit the floor, splaying open. Mark Grady looked down, then stomped on it, grinding the heel of his boot into the pages. Garbage, he muttered. One page ripped free, caught air, and drifted across the tiles, landing at a man's boots. Jason Statham looked down. It was a pencil drawing of him. He picked it up, looked at the kid, and stood. Before we proceed, like and subscribe to catch Jason Statham's epic face-off with ex-SWAT officer, and comment where you're watching from today. Jason Statham had been riding buses for days. No headlines. No handlers. Just moving in silence, through cities, between noise, looking for stillness. Chicago was supposed to be a stop to breathe. But that terminal never let him. He'd been sitting on that bench for nearly half an hour, hoodie up, sipping black coffee gone cold. He had seen arguments, late trains, even a fight over a seat. But none of them felt like this. Mark Grady, the man barking at the teen, wasn't a rent-a-cop. Not really. He used to be SWAT. Tactical. Aggressive. Fired after a street protest where he lost control and hospitalized a college student on camera. Now, he wore a private badge and carried the same rage, just without accountability. People in the station recognized him. But no one said a word. The boy, Jalen, did not. 16. Hoodie zipped tight. Backpack light. What he carried most was his sketchbook. He drew people from a distance. Faces. Movement. Authority. Strength. He didn't know who Jason Statham was. He just saw a man sitting alone, still as a statue, with a look that belonged in a war film. So he drew him. And when that sketch hit Jason's boot, ripped, dirty, crushed, it stopped being art. It became the reason he stood. Jason stared at the sketch in his hands. It was rough around the edges, creased from the fall, but inside the lines was precision. Intention. Jalen hadn't drawn a celebrity. He'd drawn strength. Calm, contained, dangerous. Jason blinked once. Folded the page softly. His fingers moved like it mattered. Mark Grady noticed. Oh look, he scoffed, turning to the bench. We've got a fan club. That for real? You his idol or something? Jason didn't answer. Mark's voice rose. You gonna step in and save your little friend, movie man? Or you gonna sit there sipping coffee like it's the Transporter 6? That got attention. Whispers rolled through the crowd like wind through dry leaves. Yo, is that? Wait, that's Jason Statham. Nah, no way. What's he doing here? Phones turned. Cameras rolled. Mark smirked wider. He was soaking it in. You wanna play hero? He barked. Sorry, mate. This ain't a green screen. This is real life. And out here, guys like me don't need retakes. He gave Jalen a sideways shove, light but sharp enough to sting. Jason stood still. Then, in one smooth step, he walked forward. He didn't speak. He didn't glare. He simply reached down, picked up Jalen's sketchbook from the floor, and tucked the folded page back inside. Then handed it to the boy. Clean, intentional. Jalen looked up. Jason nodded once. That's all. And the crowd stopped breathing. Mark Grady's jaw flexed as he stepped forward, chest puffed, eyes locked on Jason like he was gearing up for a staged takedown. "You think that little nod means something?" he barked. "You're not in one of your little movies." He closed the distance in 2 heavy steps and shoved Jason square in the chest. 2 hands, full force. Jason did not move. He stood still, completely unaffected, as if the force had hit a concrete wall. The crowd froze. Phones already up, now pointed fully in their direction. Jason looked down at Mark's hands, then up into his eyes. A pause. Then came the voice, quiet, leveled, and terrifyingly calm. "You needed a reminder." Mark barely registered the words before Jason moved. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was just efficient. Jason snatched Mark's wrist in a vice-like grip, twisted sharply, and stepped through with a pivot that spun Mark off balance. His foot hooked behind the knee. And then came the slam. Thud. Mark hit the floor spine first, wind knocked clean out of him. A gasp rolled across the terminal. Some stepped back. Others surged forward with phones. One man whispered, "What the hell?" Security didn't step in. They watched. Mark rolled over, grunting, coughing, struggling to stand. Jason stayed where he was. No follow-up punch. No words. No pose. He just stood, calm, unreadable, controlled. Mark got to his feet, red-faced and shaking. Fury boiling now. "You wanna go?" he spat. "Let's go." He raised his fists, lunging again. Jason didn't flinch, didn't adjust, didn't posture. He just stared. The energy in the crowd shifted. Someone said, "Oh no, this guy's dead." Another, "Yo, he doesn't even look mad." And suddenly, it was no longer a security incident. It was a countdown. And Jason Statham was about to show the world exactly what kind of reminder he meant. Mark charged like a man trying to save his pride in front of 1,000 cameras. He roared, swinging wildly with both hands, eyes red, mouth open, every punch fueled by embarrassment more than technique. The first jab whistled through empty space. Jason slipped left, body coiling like a spring, and answered with a brutal elbow to the cheekbone, short, sharp, surgical. Mark stumbled, but Jason wasn't done. With one clean pivot, he hooked Mark's elbow, shifted his hips, and launched him over his own shoulder into a bench. Crack. The impact rattled the steel frame and echoed across the terminal. Someone in the crowd screamed. Others cheered. Phones flew higher. Jason stepped back, not chasing, not taunting, just waiting. Mark groaned and pulled himself up, dazed, bleeding from the lip now. He rushed again. Jason ducked, swept the leg, and took him down with a single ankle trap. Mark hit the floor, hard. Jason dropped into a modified mount, not straddling, just enough to trap one arm. His left hand pinned Mark's wrist. His right hand came down. Smack. Open palm to the jaw. Smack. Another, sharper. The sound was clean, real. Not exaggerated, just punishing. Mark kicked, rolled, tried to crawl away. Jason stood. Let him scramble. But the second Mark made it to his knees, Jason moved again. A low feint. Mark reacted too late. Jason slipped to the side and swept again, this time crashing Mark face first into the ground. Mark lay there, breathing hard, eyes unfocused. Jason stepped in close. One final shot, short, brutal, a liver punch that folded Mark instantly. He dropped flat, knees bent awkwardly, groaning from the gut like the wind had been punched out of his soul. He didn't get up. The crowd lost it. He wrecked that dude. Holy, did you see that elbow? Security rushed toward the scene, walkies crackling, but no one touched Jason. They had seen everything. And in their eyes, that wasn't a celebrity. That was a man who knew exactly what he was doing. And he wasn't done yet. The terminal was silent. Not the awkward kind. This was reverence. Jason stood over Mark for one last moment, his breathing steady, his presence still commanding the room. Then he turned without a word. Jalen was still there, sketchbook pressed to his chest, eyes wide. Jason approached slowly, reached out, and slipped the folded drawing back into the cover. He placed a firm hand on Jalen's shoulder. "Keep drawing," he said, voice low but steady. Jalen nodded once, small, then bigger, as if something just clicked. His back straightened. His grip on the sketchbook tightened. Jason gave him one final look. Nothing dramatic. Just understanding. Then he turned, pulled his hood back up, and walked through the parted crowd. People moved without being asked. Some whispered. Others filmed. But no one tried to stop him. Not even the guards. They just watched. Jason reached the doors, pushed them open, and stepped into the night. Never looked back. Behind him, Mark Grady was still on the ground. Face sweaty, arms shaking, pride in pieces. His mouth opened once, then closed again. He never said a word. Real strength doesn't shout. It doesn't posture. It doesn't need a stage. It sits. It watches. And when the moment's right, it changes everything. Jason didn't fight to impress. He fought because silence was no longer an option. If you believe power is earned through discipline, not dominance, share this story. And remember, the most dangerous man in the room is the one who says nothing.